Hey there, it's Viscero Plays, and I'm filming from yet a new location in my home today. How are you doing? What's going on? Today I had a great conversation with one of my dearest friends. This person is an academic and works in educational research. Recently I've been reading the book by Dan Ariely. Recently I've been reading a book by Dan Ariely. It's one of his earlier works called The Upside of Irrationality. So I've read other books by him, such as Predictably Irrational. But The Upside of Irrationality talks about ways in which humans are irrational, and it looks at these tendencies to let us know how we can leverage that irrationality in a good way. So one example that he talks about is hedonic adaptation. So what is hedonic adaptation? In the book, he uses the example of if you want to be a connoisseur of $15 wines, that is to kind of prevent, slow down, or curtail lifestyle inflation. Because once you have a $50 bottle of wine, you get used to very high quality $50 bottles of wine. You might not be able to enjoy a $15 bottle of wine anymore. In modern times, you can think more broadly of really any type of lifestyle inflation. You move to a larger condo. It seems big until you get used to it and you acquire more things, and maybe you want an even bigger house, maybe you want a single family home, stuff like that. And a key part of it is basically our peers. So I know there's another person that I really admire, Alain de Botton, and he talks about social comparison, and I think this is one of his earlier works about status anxiety. And he says, you're not jealous of the queen, who is now passed away. So you're not jealous of King Charles. Why? Because King Charles is not your peer. We compare ourselves to basically our friends. So when you're thinking about hedonic adaptation, trying to slow it down, one of the tips in the book is if you move into a new place, not taking out, let's say, a huge loan and buying all new furniture, but instead buying each piece one at a time so that you fully enjoy the new product before you move on to another new product. So that's one tip that they give. I would say there are some real downsides to that. But back to hedonic adaptation. There are times when we want to slow it down, right? To mitigate things like lifestyle inflation. And there are also times when we want to speed it up. When is adaptation good? And example they use in the book, which I think is probably the most common human experience example, is when you're getting over something like a bad breakup, or maybe losing a job, losing a friend, that sort of thing. It's one of those things where it's hard at that moment to imagine a state in which we feel way better about it, in which we've adapted to it. And yet, the thing is about life is that it perpetually moves forward, whether we're ready for it or not. And I think this has been especially true in my life. If I think back to probably my very first job out of college, it was working at GNC. And I remember if I had like a really bad day because I didn't sell anything, or because someone who bought something from someone else had a return, because if you rung up your returns, if you rung up anybody's return, it actually went against your numbers. I don't know how GNC operates today, but back in the day, it was all about how much you get per customer, like the total amount spent divided by the number of customers that check out. So the worst thing that could happen is if someone came in and bought something small, like a drink, and they probably thought they were still helping you because that was an additional sale. But as the salesperson at GNC, that was actually really detrimental to your scores. It was better for you, for people to buy nothing than to buy something small. I guess I think of that example because like a small interaction in my day, like a return, could totally, mess up that day, and I would be thinking about that for a while. Well, nowadays for sure, my life is really different because I tend to be very busy. I'm busy at work all of the time. I'm also busy socially a lot of the time, and I'm always making plans in the same way that you manage progress at work. You're always picking up projects, moving them forward, finding new areas that you can have projects. For my social life, it's the same way, planning dinners and trips, making new friends, putting energy into existing friends, deepening friendships. It's all a well-oiled machine, and in order to keep it healthy and running, you basically have to keep investing in the different people that you are interacting with.